Everyone knows that Fredericksburg is famous for its role in the Civil War. The history books are filled with stories of brave and unlucky men that camped and fought on these hallowed grounds, leaving behind scattered fragments of their daily lives. Fast forward 162 years, and we have a local named Tuffy Hicks, who has hunted the area with his metal detector since he was a kid, unearthing much of its history. Tuffy had some epic adventures in his Relic quest and shares some of those stories with us.
Old Doc Johnson was a chiropractor that lived in Fredericksburg, and he was hunting relics around 1900. And when I started hunting, he was still alive. Lived down on Kenmore Avenue, and he still had a lot of relics and stuff. And he would tell me tales that were just, it was amazing. He was talking about going to the wilderness battlefield on the weekends in 1900 and walking the battlefield looking for relics. And he said that the skeletons and things were still in the trench lines. Most of them were missing skulls. And I said, what's the deal with that? And he said, well, the government always thought they were smarter than everybody else. They would pay a bounty for each body you would bring in. They would pay a bounty of like 50 cents or $1, and one farmer would bring in one half, and the other would bring in the other half. And he said the government did that. They thought they were smarter than everybody else. They said, well, we're only going to pay for the skulls. We'll give you $1 a skull or something like that. And Doc Johnson, he had some pictures back then of wagons coming down Plank Road, loaded, looked like loads of pumpkins. And there were skulls from the battlefields that they were bringing in for the bounty. And they called it a fee or something back then. But Doc Johnson said, yeah, they thought they were smarter than everybody else, but they left a skeleton in the trenches for me to find, and they just brought in the skull. He said after that, he said they only brought in the skulls because they didn't bring a whole body in. He said most of what you have buried at the National Cemetery is skulls of the troops. And but he said even back then in 1900, which was only like 40 years after the war, he said that he would find, and he said they were still in their uniforms and everything. Reading in the book, Mom, about this camp off of Massaponax Creek, and they said we moved out at midnight. And I said, now, if I could find that camp, if they moved out at midnight and they were Confederates, they must have left a few things behind. So I said, I'm going to go look for that camp. Didn't have any clue of finding it. So I went down, I was walking this high hill along Massaponax Creek. And I walked it about a half mile or so. It was getting cold and cold, and it started to snow a little bit. So I turned around to come back. I looked off through the woods. I said, what in the heck is that sitting up in the woods? I walked over and I looked. A 10-gallon coffee pot sitting on a pile of bricks.
Wow.
Been sitting there for 160 years. First signal. Laid back Louisiana buckle.
Wow.
Rare. I said, this is an interesting place. I said, didn't hunt anymore. Just dug a buckle and come on home. So I took Dad back. It snowed a little bit. There was about a half-inch snow on the ground. And we went back and found a camp. And they had left a Confederate in tent hole, in the hut site, laying there. And I dug down. I started to find these buttons, and then I found a canteen. Found a canteen with a guy's name on it. Wow. Confederate canteen. And right by where his midsection was a smashed up bullet, Confederate bullet. Yeah, we were hunting this camp over in Stafford, and Dad had gone over top of the hill, and I looked, and there was this guy dressed in black with a long beard, looked like Rip Van Winkle or somebody, standing in the camp hole next to me. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. We didn't say anything, and he stood there for about 10 minutes, and then he was gone. And Dad, he come over the hill, and I said, "Dad, you see that old man in the hole?" He said, "Tuffy, we're miles from nobody." And he said, "No, I didn't see any old man." He said, "Well, you must be seeing things." The guy standing in the camp hole. It's really difficult to find anywhere to go anymore. It's just it's almost impossible. Because people have gotten real funny about letting you go on their land. I mean, if you went door to door in Fredericksburg, if you went door to door, and people would let you hunt, about every yard we've ever been in town, you found something. We had a lady last year let us go in her yard, and we'd been in the yard about 10 minutes and dug up one of those eagle plates, and that was near a couple streets over from where the Park Service is. But
so it sounds like there's still something to find around here. It's not dug out.
Yeah, well, there's still places. It used to be a lot of places in Stafford County and places like that you could go in the woods because they were camped all over the place. Anywhere near the river, anywhere within 2 or 3 miles of the river, you could find stuff. And